No matter what our station in life and no matter what our occupation is, whether we be a consumer, or whether we be a provider, whether we be a therapist, case manager, judge, prosecutor, probation officer, magistrate, we are all here for several reasons, primarily to learn as much as we can in terms of the newest education and the newest technology with respect to addressing those individuals that have mental health issues and have substance abuse addiction. Our goal, obviously, among other goals, is to keep this population out of the criminal justice system. And it took me a long time. I've been a judge for 30 years. I'm a circuit court judge. I know I look like I'm 25, but I've been a circuit court judge for 30 years. And it took me a long time to develop this mantra that I live by, and that is that justice does not mean just doling out punishment. It means reaching the right result. In that regard, we're here today, or the reason why I'm here at this moment, is to present an award to an individual who really, I know, will carry out that mantra and continue that mission in his new role. We're here to honor Ari Porth. Ari Porth has been a state representative from Broward County for 8 years. He served 4 terms, and unfortunately, he was term limited out. So at this point in his very young life, Ari has served in 2 branches of the government. He served in the executive branch as a prosecutor, where he still works in the juvenile area in the Broward County State Attorney's Office. He has served, as I just indicated, as a legislator for 4 terms, and he just recently was elected without opposition, which speaks volumes about his respect and his image in our community, elected to a position as circuit court judge in the 17th Judicial Circuit. He'll be starting in that position on January 1. So he still works in the Broward County State Attorney's Office. So at his relatively young age, he is a gentleman that has served in all 3 branches of the government. The reason why we're here to honor Ari Porth is not just because he was a legislator. He served with great distinction as a legislator, and more importantly, he helped advance the cause for which we are all here today, and that is with respect to individuals that have both mental health issues as well as substance abuse addictions. He has also, in that regard, been very much of an advocate for people with disabilities, developmental disabilities, individuals that are homeless, and individuals that have many personal problems that really require societal and, more importantly, legislative attention. He has been a champion for this population, well recognized by his peers in the legislature. More importantly, he realizes that a lot of people are in the criminal justice system, more importantly, people that have substance abuse addiction that don't deserve to be in prisons. As a matter of fact, he championed a very, very important piece of legislation this past legislative session that has been around the legislature for the past 10 years, which is known as the Drug Reentry Bill. And the Drug Reentry Bill was designed primarily for those people who are in prison that have substance abuse issues, to enable them to get out of prison at an earlier point than they otherwise were scheduled to be released from prison, so long as they were linked up and connected with a drug court in the community that they were returning to. In championing that bill, which is House Bill number 117, he was able to get that bill passed by a resounding vote of 112 votes for and 4 votes against. On the other side, on the Senate side, Senator Bogdanoff, who happens to also be from Broward County, also championed that bill on the Senate side, and so that bill passed the legislature. Unfortunately, that bill was vetoed by the governor. So this session, it did not get to where it needs to be, and that is an effective piece of law. We hope that at some point, sooner rather than later, it will. And the reason why many of us in this room were hoping that legislation would pass, because not only would it provide a continuum of treatment for individuals that have substance abuse issues once they get out of prison, by being linked up with a drug court in their community, we were hoping that would be the precedent for having a similar type of legislation passed for individuals that were in prison that have mental health issues, and that they could possibly be released from prison earlier and be linked up with a mental health court in the community that they were returning to. So someday that will happen. Unfortunately, it didn't happen as early as we hoped. but the man who really set the framework and the groundwork for that is with us here today. So at this point in time, it would be my pleasure to call up Ari Port to present him with his plaque. Before I hand Ari this plaque, I'm assuming, number one, he has a space on his wall to put this plaque, but this will be his first plaque that he's receiving in his position as a judge, so hopefully this will mean something to him. And secondly, you should know that being that we're going to be in the same circuit, the chief judge of our circuit has already determined that Ari Port is going to be working as a mental health court judge, so that's great.
Judges' offices are a little bit bigger than representative offices, so I think I have wall space for this. The judge was very kind to say that I'm young in age. I don't feel all that young anymore, and I certainly don't look all that young anymore. If you saw me walk up, you'll notice that I lost a lot of hair over the years that I've been in the legislature. So I started growing some on my face. What do you think? Do I look more judicial? Should I keep it? My wife kind of likes it. Just a couple people that I would really like to thank. 16 years ago, my mentor, Melanie May, who is the Chief Judge of the 4th District Court of Appeals, she's awesome, by the way. She swore me into the bar, and for the last 11 years, she has been pushing for this reentry bill. It just makes sense to allow for the early release of nonviolent drug offenders, people that have been carefully screened, people that don't pose a risk to our communities. When it costs $19,000 a year to house an inmate in a state correctional facility, and just a fraction of that to allow them to go home with their families and be productive in our communities. She's been pushing for a bill like that, and it was a delight to work on that bill both last year and this year with Senator Bogdanoff, and I was thrilled and delighted that the legislature overwhelmingly passed that bill this year, and thrilled and delighted that Representative Baxley and Speaker-designate Weatherford are committed to carrying on with that bill because it's so important for our state. Thank you all for everything you do to make a difference in the lives of others, and I look forward to working with Judges Spicer and Leifman and taking a page from their book and hoping to be half the judges that they are. Thank you for having me here today.